Hello everyone. In today's episode of Deep Dive, we're going to be examining one of my absolute favorite synths, JD-990. We're not going to go in-depth review or anything like that. It's a special occasion for me at least and for my JD, because something that I've been saving up for a really, really long time has finally became available. So yeah, today I'm giving my JD-990 a little bit of a remake, and let's see how that goes. So here's my unit, and now when I look at it I can actually see that it too could use a little bit of a makeup job. So if all of this turns out well, then I think I'm gonna give this one as well a nice makeup job to kind of iron these things up and give it a new paint coat, and same thing with the front. And I'm probably gonna do new graphics so that they match the JD-800 that I'm gonna do as well, but that's gonna wait for now. So this is the insides, and there are gonna be three things that I'm gonna be updating today on him. First is going to be the EPROM. I got the latest 105. This is the first one, 1.0 actually, so that's gonna be a good thing. The second thing is my vintage card. Kudos to Don Solaris as usual for posting the video and warning that this capacitor tends to blow up and ruin your card completely. So I got the replacement capacitors for this one, so I'm gonna fix that as well. But the main part and the main thing is white on blue for the JD. This is custom made by a guy from UK called Steven. It ain't cheap, but if it works, it should definitely be worth it, because there are no other display replacements for this unit. It's notoriously difficult to actually even find these displays. You can see here, yeah, that's pretty pale and kind of very, very dim and dark. Now you do have an option in system setup to actually go to LCD contrast, and you can go to setting of 1, 4 is default, or all the way to 8, and that's basically what you have to do when your display starts dying. This one's actually in a good condition, but the point is that these units just shipped with a display that was not that great, and unfortunately a replacement display hasn't been available until now. Taking this thing apart, of course you have your screws on the back and on the sides. Then once you get your top off, you have 3 screws on top and 3 screws on the back, and then you just carefully nudge the front panel off. And in the back here we have our cable that's linked to the LED for the MIDI messages, and this is, you can't see it from this angle, but this is slid on 2 small metal prongs, so you simply pull it easily off and you should be able to see the metal prongs here, which actually go to the MIDI message LED. So that's the front panel off. So this is the JD-990 in the nude. Be very, very careful. This is quite loose, so you don't really want to knock that over. But first I think I'm gonna do the EPROM, because the one I received had some bent pins and it's all kind of janky, and I want to get that first on, powered up, and see if it works. If that's fine, then I'm gonna go into display, and then lastly do this little boy. Right, let's get cracking. So here's the original EPROM, and when dealing with an EPROM, when you remove these chips, it's really preferable if you have this IC remover tool, or if not, then be very careful and use a flathead screwdriver. So let's carefully nudge this guy out. There we go. So this is my one, and this is the janky ass IC, which was all funky, and you can see there's still a little bent. So let's see if we can slot this puppy in, or are we in? Are we in? Yes, we are. Alright, so the EPROM is in. I've put the mask on just to get the buttons and just be sure what's what. So increase, decrease on, power up, powers up, and it's version 105 and it seems to be working well. And let's see if everything else powers up normally. So I slotted back in the original EPROM and it boots up normally as it did before. So yeah, that's pretty much disappointing. But back to the main event. From what I've read in the dismantling manual, there's like two ways to go about this, and I can either take it off from here, which seems to be the most logical course for me because the back screws are a little bit inaccessible. So I ended up taking the display off from these screws from the back side because that actually proved to be a bit more easier in my case. So here's the original display. And what I'm gonna do before anything else is take this ribbon and mark where the first pin was, just to be absolutely sure. Okay, so now I'm gonna work with the display because what I need to do first is get safely this plastic off and yeah, then put it onto the new one. Well, first test the new one, and then if all works, then put this on and be sure that it all is lovely and dandy. Okay, so I use the blade just to carefully start the cut from the middle so that I can loosen up the glue that's holding the plastic perspex on it, and then very, very carefully you can actually see the glue lifting, and just take your time. Be patient, not too much force, just take it gently off and we're good. So there we go, perspex off, all the display here. And also if you want, you can use a hairdryer and then gently heat it up and then just kind of lift it up. That's this one off. We're going to clean it. And now I get the spacers or the holders, mounters, whatever you want to call them. Put the new display and actually plug it in and see what happens. Alright, the spacers or the holders are in on the new display, and ooh, it looks so pretty already. I hope it works good. Yeah, I'm not gonna mount it yet. I'm just gonna plug in the ribbon in the back and test if this works, and if it works, then mount it. Fingers crossed. Alright, so let's see here, the moment of truth. Holy crap! Oh my god, this is so bright. I actually made the whole settings for the old display, and it's now I just saw on the screen that this is totally overblown. So let me adjust the settings for the new display. This is incredible. Okay, so here goes. Look at that. This is incredibly awesome. I love how this looks. It's actually really difficult to photograph right because it's it's very bright and it doesn't photo well. But yeah, this is as close as I can get to. It's incredible. It really looks awesome. I've never thought I'd see the JD-990 this pretty. Yes! Alright, so now I'm gonna carefully screw the display back on and put the JD back together again. The display is in. Let's slide the panel back. There we go. Take a pretty cloth, wipe your display off. You want it to be clean, no dust. There we go. The front panel carefully on top so that we don't move anything. Slide into place. The holes align. Right, the panel is back on, and now I've cleaned this one to the best of my ability and given it a tiny bit of sticky tape on the back so that it sticks nicely. And here is the beauty with the new screen. Very cool. Can't wait to see it in action. So next I'm gonna get rid of this little guy and replace it with a different capacitor so that I don't have to worry about it exploding on me. So let's get my soldering iron. Okay, the goal and the problem is that these capacitors tend to blow up nowadays and they ruin your card completely. This should be replaced by another capacitor. First, onto the job of removing this guy. I'm going to use a little bit of soldering wick. I'm going to apply some flux onto the soldering wick here. And I'm gonna apply some heat. That wicked up quite nicely. Now the other side. This is quite clean now, so okay, as you can see, I've made a mess of things. The capacitor opened up on me, so it leaked, and when it leaked, it screwed up this little pad, which then lifted off with it. So what I did was I scratched the minus pad to expose the copper, which is going to be my new contact point. So now I'm gonna solder it up a little. Hopefully this should work. Okay, give this blob a little. Yep. So that's my new minus point. That should work fine. So now we need to bend this guy so that it lies parallel and flush to the surface of the board. Something like this. So it lies flat. We will connect minus to minus, plus to plus, and then trim things accordingly. Basics are there, so let's add some more solder. Okay, so now we're gonna trim the legs. That's good. And now to add a little hot glue so that it stays in place for a long time. There we go. So here's the finished patch job. I really wish that the pad didn't fall off, but my bad. So I hope that this works. Let's see if it will turn out okay or not. Alright, the card is back in place, and nice news. You can actually see when we power him up. Let's power him up. Super JD expanded, so I didn't screw up the card, which is nice. Sound works, and if I go to my utilities, yay, load programs, JD, and let's load the Andromeda wash. Alright, let's try something else. Works! And here it is in all its glory, fully patched up, and also I reinstalled the firmware and did a full factory reset, and now it actually works fine. So that's good too. And yeah, basically it's pretty much a full-on success. I'm absolutely blown away by the new display. It's night and day. It's absolutely incredible. I have not tried the contrast yet. I would assume. Oh, cool. So you can actually get it to be different types of values as well, and you can get a different shade of blue. Anything beyond 4 is not really nice, but anything, oh, this is so pretty. You can really get a nice type of blue. Oh, this is so pretty. Look at this one. It doesn't show that pretty on the screen, but I really love it. There we go. And updates nicely, nice and fast. Yes, finally you can get everything the way you want it. Oh my god, Steven, you're a genius. So yeah, by no means cheap, but yeah, it's it depends on what you want and what you like. However, this is something I never dreamed would actually be available, and it's absolutely astonishing. So I'm super happy about this. Hooray! Yeah, the vintage card capacitor kind of thingy, that sucked a lot, but I'm happy that I managed to actually make it work. So at least that's good. Afterwards I also changed the battery because that was also dying, and now it's really tip-top. So since I'm really happy how this turned out, I'm definitely gonna be giving the JD-990 a thorough exterior makeover as well. But first it's gonna be JD-800 to decide upon a design, and then to create and design a matching design for JD-990 so that they can be like a big happy family. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you soon. Bye!